in general live within the next 8 years. I had to have a good look at my character, his stats, statistics, and description. When I was getting ready for prison, I would never have imagined that they'd give me a shaman, because all the forums said that prisoners usually get assigned either warriors or rogues, so these were the classes I read up on, pretty much becoming an expert in them. Not a single bastard wrote on any of the forums that a prisoner could be given a spellcasting class. Blast! I don't even know how to cast spells, and figuring this out by myself will be very difficult. I brought the window with the character description before my eyes. Racial bonus. Reputation gain with all factions is increased by 10%. What fantastic stats. My virtual heart began to ache when I compared this shaman with my level 87 hunter. He looked so wretched next to my former character. Energy. The biggest headache for all the prisoners. In the main game world, even if energy fell all the way to 0, the character simply suddenly stopped and rested for several minutes, waiting for it to recover, and then continued to carry out the player's commands. But they say that here, things are not so simple. As energy is lost, you get tired for real, and your hit points slowly diminish. A sudden fall in energy could even lead to character death. I would have to test this parameter in more detail, since I paid little attention to it with my hunter. Stamina. It determines the number of hit points in the ratio of 1 to 10. The higher the stamina, the slower the rate of energy loss. What the ratio was in this case, I didn't really remember, but was aware it existed. I must level up my stamina as much as I can, as this is important for survival. Strength. This is the main stat necessary for mining ore. I didn't know what influence it might have on the ore itself. I found nothing about it in the manuals. This parameter also influences the strength of my physical attack. Because I'm not a melee fighter, the calculation is quite simple. Physical damage equals strength plus weapon damage. No modifiers. I'll have to do without, I guess. Agility. Something I knew so well when I was playing my hunter, but now I don't even know what to do with it. In my case, agility did little else than determine the dodge chance and the critical strike chance. So if I don't engage in melee combat, this stat will remain useless for me. Intellect. This is what hunters, warriors, rogues, and several other classes lack. In place of this statistic, they use rage. Intellect determines the amount of mana in the ratio of 1 to 10 and the rate of its regeneration, although the exact formula slipped my memory. Intellect also determines the strength of my magical attacks. Here we have a modifier. Magic damage is 3 times intellect. I had no idea how it all worked, despite having seen shamans in action as they banged their tambourines, danced, and chanted some sort of songs. There must be a reason they do that. Not selected. So here is that stumbling block, which makes virtually all the players rant about Barliona. They rant, but continue playing. Yeah, they keep burning their fingers, grumble, but still go for the cookies. In Barliona, with the 4 main stats, which were fairly standard for all games, each player was allowed to pick additional 4. What is more, they were not chosen from a set list, but you had to perform certain actions that would lead to the system allowing you to pick a particular stat. For instance, when I played the hunter, I needed marksmanship in order to be sure of hitting the opponent and having a chance of dealing him triple damage. But then I knew beforehand that I would need this stat and spent some time hitting the training dummy until the system allowed me to select marksmanship. Only 4 additional stats could be chosen, so picking them needed serious thinking. Of course, it was possible to remove an undesirable stat, despite the system saying it could not be removed, but this could only be done personally by the Emperor, and gaining an audience with him was often out of question.